Welcome to River City Media and a very special show that took us a while to get it arranged because it's hard to get basketball coaches during basketball season.
That's true. And especially ones with, 3 kids who are also basketballing and, everything just kind of crazy. But thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, we've got Coach Powell from Fyffe High School. And, of course, we've got Howie Chaney over there sitting in the palatial state in Sylvania, Alabama. So, Coach Powell, of course, I've already said it, one of my favorite players of all time, a multiple-time state champion. Howie, when was the first time you heard about Heather and her playing skills?
Oh, it was probably
Don't tell the year.
no, probably the 6th grade, 7th grade, somewhere in there. She became a varsity starter in the 7th grade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
and,
sir.
Small county, but word got around quick about this up and coming phenom of a basketball player.
That's great. Let's not mention the year because I was already working a full-time job at 2 full-time jobs and graduated college. So y'all feel young to me.
You didn't realize that Randall's Social Security number is 0001.
Oh, no.
Something like that. Well, Coach, when you started playing at such an age to make the varsity team, what was that like? You were 5-6 years younger than some of those girls on those teams.
Sure. And I'll have to say, just Coach Cochran, as far as bringing me up with basketball, I also played volleyball and softball coming along those years and had some tremendous coaches, tremendous teammates that were very, humble and gracious as far as, offering me a spot, within the group. And, I just really came from Grove Oak, a small little place, barely graduating with any kids, in 6th grade, and came up to Fyffe, and which is not terribly big, but it's big for a Grove Oak gal. It was a transition, but definitely it was something that I'd always wanted, and I'd watched Jody Gillan, like Kayla, and their cousins, the Worleys, Leslie, and all those gals, and Jana Simmons used to be Godwin now, and have watched them just be phenomenal on the floor, and win a state championship right before I got to come to Fyffe. So really just to have a part in a program that was like that was kind of just a fairy tale to me. It was already up and coming. And as a young woman, in the late 80s in Alabama, that was, it really was on the brink of just really coming of age, kind of, so to speak. Right. Tennessee a little bit ahead of us and some of that kind of a respect, but it was a great time and a great place to grow up. And the Lord knew exactly where to put me, and I wanted to be involved with sports and in just an absolutely wonderful community, to grow up in.
There's not many people in this world that can call Fyffe the big town.
That's right.
Unless you come from Grove Oak.
That's exactly right.
One question we'll start with is that competitive environment in the late 80s, early 90s on Sand Mountain, and it carries on to this day in basketball. It's a special, special place, kind of a little dot in the map where basketball is as important as football in a lot of places. Now, Coach Benefield hear me say that, he'll yell at me. But
yeah, I was going to say, now don't let him know that you've said that for sure. Right. But he might have a few choice words to say about it. But he can't say too much because he married Jody, Jody Gillan, and she was Benefield now, of course, but she was on those first teams that were so good, and so she might snatch him up by the ear or something if he talked too badly about it. But it is, Sand Mountain, you can look, just the recent state championship teams and the runs that people have made. And, even if they didn't win the state, it'd be in the Final Four or the Elite Eight, it's a special place. And if you're coaching here, it's a really tough place. It's one that you love, but also one that you hate to say, whew, gosh, our area is so strong, or, our region is so strong. It's amazing, really, with our boys teams and girls teams now, what they've been able to accomplish in the last several years. It's for a small place like you said, kind of a map dot kind of cities or communities or whatever. It's been really an amazing for all these programs.
So the saying was that when they used to play the finals down at the Birmingham Jefferson Center, I had one of the announcers say, if you get out of DeKalb County, you get to come to state, because it seems like there's 3 or 4 teams every year there. So
absolutely.
Howie, I'll let you pick up there, because I know you're going to ask her the question. I've already prepped her. So go ahead, get started so we get down the line.
Okay.
Yeah, starting off at an early age and all that, did you actually have any type of pregame ritual that you did then and also now as a coach?
Well, I think, we all have those little quirky things that we do, or like the good luck things, even though, a lot of us might not believe in good luck, but it's just a familiar kind of a thing that it's like having a foul shot routine. It's not a good luck thing, but it's like it's a ritual. It gets me kind of calm, and it's kind of what I do. Of course, I've always loved music my entire life, and my dad is a huge music lover, and we would listen to different kinds. Growing up, all that kind of stuff, and I kind of carried that on to the sports avenue, I guess. But one of the goofiest things I guess I did was always had 2 pieces of green extra, the chewing gum. And I would take one of them, of course, put it in my mouth, chew. I was a big chewing gum gal. And then I would take one, and, we had the long socks back in the day, So it was about that time you started kind of scrunching them down a little bit, I guess. And I would take one of them and put it right in the top of that, and I would turn it under, like so nothing got to it. But it was like my extra gum. I never chewed it. But, it was just like a ritual. I had it there in case I needed it, I guess. I don't know. So that's one of the goofy things I guess I did. And, aside from like the regular stuff of just kind of getting that game face, the game mode, different things that I ate. My dad would make sure if it was a big game, it's more of a hamburger steak or baked potato kind of a thing, and never, I'm not a big napper anyway. I don't do a lot of naps, but he would always, make sure that Archie got to get a shower, got to wake up, going back to the game, all that kind of stuff. So we did all that kind of thing, handle the ball a little bit before you get out there. But the silly parts, I guess, it was, that green extra chewing gum.
Well,
got washed a few times.
How you got another follow-up?
No, I mean, I just said it made you feel better before the game because you got that ritual in. And, like when I played, I would always sleep with the basketball the night before the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just one of those things that I've done. And also slept on the couch most of the times. I don't know what the deal was, but I just felt better by doing that stuff.
Yeah, well, and I, oh my goodness, how many times I've gotten in trouble late at night because I had the basketball up, shooting it while I was laying in the bed, and it was making that sound. And, eventually my mom or dad usually my mom would come in and go, put that thing down. It's time to go to bed. You're not going to be able to play at all, that kind of thing. So, we all get that, just makes us feel comfortable, and even as an adult, I'll laugh, going back to things like if I'm really worried about something, or if I've had a bad day, or just, whatever it is, if I can just get in a gym, get a ball in my hands for a minute, or, sometimes now I also clean. It's a weird thing, I know, but if I'm really worried, I may start cleaning or doing something like that. But really, just it's one of those. Just you've been there so many times, and it's been such a comfort all of your life. If you can just get in there and shoot a few hoops before school or before practice, or just on a Sunday, or whatever after church, or it's just a very it's a common feeling.
Coach, that's a perfect lead into the next question I was going to ask you. You would later in your career at Jacksonville State lead the NCAA in 3-point shooting. And I remember at a very young age, you had a developed form. You really didn't skip on form. You always was a form shooter. When did you learn how to shoot, and who taught you to shoot that manner?
Well, thank you. First of all, that's very much a compliment. You know, again, I guess that's one of the things, you learn to do to start with, shoot, dribble, all that kind of stuff, dribble your eyes up, make those passes. Shooting, though, for sure, and ball handling you can do on your own a lot of times, even shooting without a goal, like I said, laying in the bed, just shooting it up, or off the wall, the brick side of the house, whatever, in the driveway. But, and my grandfather was a basketball coach as well and loved basketball. He was a principal and played basketball growing up as well. And he had an old shed up from his house, and he would walk up through there. My dad, of course, constantly. It was, I was Big Daddy's girl, and we were out shooting or just handling the ball or throwing the football. I was convinced I was going to be like a wide receiver, for Coach Househalter. Or, like a short yardage quarterback or something. Like I would run pass routes. My dad would throw it, it's all that kind of stuff. And of course, we both love Coach House to death. And just, I'm sure they got some giggles out of it as I was growing up, thinking I was going to have that career, I guess, or whatever. But my grandpa, he spent a ton of time with me up there in the shed, just shooting and developing really, and trying to perfect. You never reach perfection, but just trying to perfect that form, and it was always, you start close in and you perfect it before you take a step back, and you perfect it before you take a step back, and that's something I've had to really stay on my kids, my personal kids about, and, our ball kids and stuff. And just, the kids that we have coming into the programs where we've been, don't start out at the 3-point line. That's not going to be what you need to do. Get in here, and even through my college career and today, really, if I get out there and shoot, I start in at about 3 or 4 feet, and in college I would make myself, hit. And Coach Cochran was big with this too, like carrying on to the next step. But you got to hit 10 in a row from this spot without touching the rim, without touching anything. It's got to be perfect. And then, you move on out. So I think it's really just, it's something you spend a lot of time on your own developing. But I definitely had those people in my life that, that helped me to see the importance of every step.
Well, I had a blip on my radar. I'm glad you kept talking.
Yeah.
I kind of locked up real fast. Howie, do you have a question now?
Yeah, just you walk into the Mike Cochran Gymnasium there at Fyffe and look to the left, and there's the picture up on the wall, your accomplishments and all that. Has any of your players challenged you to game a horse or one-on-one or anything like that?
Occasionally they like to try to do something like that. I usually do not oblige because I'm like, no, but I will challenge you to shoot this percentage, or I'll challenge you to pick one of those that you want to just crush it, just knock it out of the water, do something or to be better than what you've heard. Like I don't like for my kids to watch my film, or anything like that. Back in the day, I'm like, no, stop, no, we don't need to do that. But I'll sit down and watch film with you, just not mine, or I'll show you something, or we'll try to develop something else. It's not, I'm proud of it in a respect of what my teammates and I were able to accomplish, the position that the Lord put us all in, to be on the same team with such excellent coaches in all of our sports, and, the memories that we have, and
absolutely,
the traits that we developed and characteristics that have taken us through life, and helped us to persevere, and helped us to just really value the relationships that we had. Those are the things that I'll talk about a lot. I don't talk about with my kids too much about, just the points or the rebounds or the whatever. I don't say too much about that. Occasionally they'll ask me about it. And, and I try to just hopefully make it like a teachable moment, kind of almost. Okay, if you think it's, a big deal, or, well, how do you think that happened? how were we able to get there, or how could you get there now, something like that. But of course, if we're in a drill or something and I'm having to shoot it up or, something like that, it's always like, Coach, you'll fight, or whatever, or Coach, you mean to miss that? They're kind of giving me a hard time about it occasionally, something like that. So they're fun. I mean, it's always fun to joke around and kind of just have some laughs about it too.
Coach, I have a friend who's a high school coach now that played in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And he says one of the hard things for him to do is put that in perspective for the kids. And that sounds like something you're able to do, because he says what he can do is use it as a teaching lesson, for his kids. He often references, it's not the journey, it was the lessons I learned to get there. Do you ever find, and you had a great career in college, and don't get me wrong, there is a valuable lesson in your college career, but you had one of the best high school careers in the state. Right. Is there ever a moment that you find in your college career, your high school career, that you can use as a teachable moment with your kids now?
Oh gosh. I mean, there are too many to count. It's insane. I just feel like, when people are asked, about their purpose in life, or if they feel like, they have to do something, it's kind of one of those kind of answers. It's not that I think I'm great at anything. I'm not. And if the Lord doesn't use me, then I'm really not, but I do think that he's, allowed me to be in certain situations, positions that he's allowed me to encounter, and even some of those were not the most easy at times, and I made mistakes through them. But, now I have that base of information or knowledge, and I try to share that. I say a lot. For the year, there's one of us in 3A, this year that won the state championship. That's it. Well, the rest of us, if you look at all that many coaches and on all the effects and all the lives that they touch every year, how can you look at that and go, there's only one of you that's worth a crap?
Right.
That's just, I love to win. I do. I'm ultra competitive. I am, and I have to kind of watch myself with other things.
We knew that in the 7th grade, Coach. Yeah. You didn't realize it. We knew you were ultra competitive in 1988.
I just thought it was normal,
No.
I mean, it's just what we do, right? But and that's how, my parents were so awesome just growing up. And it wasn't just basketball. It was with grades or with whatever you do the best that you can possibly do. And then you get better for the next time that you're going to do it. And you don't settle. You never settle, never be complacent with things, and that's something I think we all kind of juggle, with just our Christianity and our worth and just different things. I think there are a lot of lessons of that too. But throughout that whole thing, I think what you come back to is the difference that you make. Did I leave this world a better place than it was before it encountered me? Did I use the experiences that God saw me through? He knew about the mistakes. He knew about the triumphs. He knew, do I use that to help somebody else to grow, and to mature? And that's the thing, was I successful? Wins and losses, and I don't think it is with the games, even though, again, I'm ultra competitive and I do want the W's. I love those. But I think it's really the difference in the relationships and those things that really, bring it together. Did I show God's love to the people that did I show them him? And did I help people, and did I love on them? I think
that's awesome, Coach. That is truly awesome.
Who we are, or who we should be, maybe. And I struggle and I'm terrible at it, but I try, and, and I want to be better at it every day and every year.
And Coach, let's move on a little bit. After a successful career in college at Jacksonville State, you were stopped at Snead State, kind of a little journey you went on.
Right.
At what point, we talked about it earlier, it wasn't the quickest, easiest path to Fyffe. First of all, what point did you realize you wanted to be a teacher? Because as much as I love the fact you're a coach, or I love all of our coaches, you're an educator first. Did the desire to coach start, or did the desire to be an educator start?
That's a tough one a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I think if you do know my family or people that do, we have a lot of educators in my family. My grandmother and grandfather both were. My mom is. I have aunts and cousins, and all kind. There's just throughout. Chicken farmers and teachers, a lot. Or cattle farmers. Whatever. That's kind of what we've done a lot. So, as a teenager growing up, it was almost one of those. I'm not doing either of those two things. I'm just bound to not do this. But I think, and kind of almost tried there for a little while. I actually switched my major in college, just thinking, I'm not. But I just think the Lord had a different plan, and
absolutely.
And I was just drawn back to it. And I've said this a lot of times, I love being in a classroom. I'm not the greatest teacher in the world. I don't make that claim, but I just love being around kids. I love all the kids. It's not just my ball kids or whatever. I just really enjoy, being around those kids and helping those kids the same way that I do my ball kids. It's a different relationship because I don't see them as much every day, but, and not probably for 6 years in a row, like I would a ball kid, maybe that I would have, but it's the same love that I have for them, and it's the same enjoyment that I have, or like that spark of just like brilliance that happens, when they just wake up and I get it, and or they just say, thanks, coach, or thanks, Miss Powell, whatever. And that relationship again, I just have, I'm kind of that person, I guess. That's kind of how I gauge things, I guess, just the connections that we make. And that part is the most joyous part, I guess. I love the subject matter, and that kind of love learning new things and exposing kids to those things. But I think it's that bond that comes up within that I really love. So really, it's kind of both, I guess. I mean, I do love the competitive, nature of the court and the kids there, but I also love the nurturing and just the daily kind of get together with the other kids too.
Well, I have a 12-year-old that's the next Kurt Cobain in her head. So
okay,
I got one completely off the beaten path somehow. And the Lord did have a different plan. You're married to a coach, raising 3 children. So, he had to get you where he needed you. So,
I know. Whew, God bless us.
Go ahead. Finish up, Coach.
I just said, God bless us, all these coaches and all these kids. It's crazy.
You had a journey from the Tuscaloosa area to different high schools, to a stop at Plainview, a stop at Gunnersville. In my prep, I read you talked about how hard it was to leave Gunnersville. It's been a career. Sometimes people assume, here's our All-American that played college sports, we're going to bring her home and make her the coach here. But you were willing to pick up your family and move around a little bit, and it's been a journey to get back to Fyffe. What did that early struggle in your career teach you now that you use in your coaching and teaching career?
Well, I think it's a good question, and I think we all, just like you grow as a player, I think you do the same thing, in your profession, and pretty much anything in your life. If it's just being a mom or, being a wife. I mean, I hope don't ask my husband, you want to be a better wife, later in it than you were earlier. You grow in everything that you do, especially like my kids. Oh my goodness. Probably don't ask them for sure. If I'm a better mom, than I was. I hope so. Want professionally the same thing. I think that you learn those lessons early on, and maybe even want to go back and say, "Oh, guys, I'm sorry if you had me those first few years, or something." It turned out okay. Ask the ones later, or something like that. But I think it does. It teaches you what not to do, maybe. It teaches you, you work through things that do work. You grow. You learn, how to talk to people, how to get the best out of each player, how to motivate and those kind of things, how to deal with parents and just different, just different things like that you just, there's not a class for that in college. There's no, especially, I was really shy growing up, and, I kind of was always taught let your play do the talking kind of a thing. So I was not, I enjoyed writing. I love to write. Actually, it's one of my majors. I'm an English major partially, and not a communications major. Not like, let me talk, I'm not that person usually, or was not. I had to get used to that a little bit more doing interviews along the way. But, I think just an appreciation. And, as I went again, I think the journey through coaching was more about, Coach Cochran taught me so much, and my other coaches, and Miss Briss and I with the volleyball, we were, in the state tournament several times, runners up several times. And, softball, we were in the state tournament my senior year, and just really having a lot of good AAU coaches even, and those kind of, but having those coaches in my family as well. My dad coached me growing up. My grandpa was a coach and kind of chimed in there too. I think just really, the ability to take all those people, and bring them in and to really have them sell out to that one path that you all have to be on, and,
Right.
and to really go in that one direction together. I think early on it's harder, it's a struggle to get all that to work, together, and to bring it together, and to really have a balance in, what is your coaching philosophy going to be, or the X's and O's, and Coach Cochran was so methodical. And so it was just insane. Like the amount of, he's an exceptionally intelligent man, just in general. But also just his basketball knowledge, and just the way he would just, dissect everything, and somehow, bring that over to us, and it's really amazing, and the more I coach, the more I have just, and I had a deep appreciation then, but it's even greater now probably than it was then. But just kind of developing that, and just your philosophy and that persona that you will have as a coach. And, I don't coach like Mike Cochran because I'm not him, as far as personality. Coach King was here before me, and I love him, but I don't coach like Steve King because that's not who I am. It wouldn't work for me. So figuring out that, I think, through the early years, and really developing that, where it would engage with kids, and it would be like my niche kind of.
All right, Mr. Chaney, you get to see a lot of games from the time clock. Let's move on up to Coach Powell now at Fyffe, and let's talk about. Will you lead us off? Let's talk about how we're working towards building the program, and not the easiest thing to do in that district you're in to start with. That's you didn't get the easiest draw from the Alabama State High School Association. So Howie, lead us down that path, please, sir.
Yeah, there was what was it, Coach? Was it 3 teams from this area that made it to Jacksonville from 3A that you played this season? It can't get no harder than that right there.
No, when you look around.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. You're in the same area with Plainview, Sylvania, and Asbury.
Yeah.
Then the cross area is Geraldine, Collinsville. What was it, Susan Moore in that cross area? But it's several teams that end up making it far in the state tournament.
Yeah.
And you played pretty much all of them this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not even accounting like the Sand Mountain tournament and all that, with Pisgah and all the, those teams that we have to play, facing that. And it's people ask all the time, they're like, who do you guys play, or who, if they're not from here. And I'm thinking, well, just get your state tournament program, or your Jacksonville program, and I'll show you, it's one of those, like, I know we're small town, but I mean, dadgum, these people up here can play now. So, it's a badge of honor to be in this area and to have, those teams on your schedule. You can say, hey, we didn't take the easy road. Whatever we get won't be easy for sure. And it's not in a night out, like you said, in our area. Sylvania's in the state championship game, the year before. Several really good players back. And Plainview then, gained some players, but they were a force the year before either way. And they gained some players, got even stronger, and of course, then they go to the state this year, and you're just like, geez, they're in the county tournament, they're in the Sand Mountain tournament, they're in your area. So there is no getting away, from just some really great competition. There are no easy nights for sure.
Coach, was Alabama and Auburn busy when you made your schedule, or could you not get them to play you? I mean,
I know, right? Oh,
Coach, as you took over your programs, what are the important things? It's easy for me to ask a football coach. Do you really got to start with the kids as they're younger? And you have to build a program, especially at a smaller school. Sure. So you have to really be active in your junior high program, bring them up. At what point do you start now putting a depth chart for 2 years down the road together, 3 years down the road?
Well, with an 8th grade daughter myself, that's in the works already, kind of a thing. We started using, and I totally agree, by the way. I mean, I think you have to go down into your Pee Wee program. I think that has to be inclusive. I don't think
Absolutely.
There's Pee Wee and here we are. You can't do that. We want those kids in there with us. We want to be like the big sisters, to them. And, I do get to see a lot of Pee Wee games because I do have 2 sons that are in elementary school. I think that's it's a plus for me as far as just being around a lot of it. But we also try to, when we can, we have those at least once a week, during the regular season. We try to have, say our 5th and 6th grade to come in for an hour or something, into the gym, maybe with some of our kids or, run a few drills or something like that. Or have our kids maybe even go and watch, on a Saturday. Would love to have little kid camps, where we work and they just become familiar, with us. And we don't want to lose them away, as far as, they don't know us or they're a little bit nervous or timid, to be here. Because like I said, I know that feeling. My dad driving me up to the Fyffe gym for the first time and awaiting me is, Mike Cochran in there or, and Jana and all these like awesome players I'd seen, that's a little bit like, for a little shy girl, that's kind of intimidating. But it's something to have, again, just the relationship with those little, that our littles is what, kind of what we call them, but right. our younger kids, and to get the excitement there, I think that's what you really have to go after, is to say, this does matter, and here's why. We took a look back even, toward the end of the year, in particular with our varsity kids. We brought in a couple different players from way back. We got some newspaper articles and some different things, like that, just kind of to say, this is the legacy that has been, and you're now a part of that. And where do you want to take it? And, let's see where that, how do we get there? What plan do we have, to, there's somebody coming in my door. It's probably one of my kids, but what plan do we have to get it there? Like we have this goal, we have this huge goal, like to get back to this big headline in the paper that once was, or whatever. And, I think just the steps that we need to take, and that's something that we want to have, with our younger kids too. And we want to say, there are all these, this time, we want you to come sit on the bench behind us. This is going to be a big night for our 6th grade. Come come with us and be part of our team tonight, just to bring them in and to say, you do matter. You are as important as any other team that we have, and we want you to keep this going. It's a big deal for us that you're here.
Coach, I loved your answer on that. But to follow up, too, as you grow a program, I guess that's my question.
Yeah.
What's the difference in a team and a program? Because you want a program, and you were part of a program with Coach Cochran, and you see the schools that are successful, they have a program. Down to terminology, do you try to use the same terminology all through the different levels of Fyffe basketball?
Absolutely, yeah. That's something that we did too. We met with the Pee Wee coaches. We try to have like a Google Classroom thing. That kind of thing where you say, like you're saying, with the terminology, it kind of needs to be consistent, all the way up. Or we need you to learn how to do this, this, and this. These are the fundamentals, like coming up to this next step. And you do that same thing with your junior high program. These are, this is what you want to build. You don't want to take a 9th or 10th grade kid and say, okay, well, you have the ability. Let's throw you in the varsity program, but you don't know anything that we're doing. You don't know what I'm talking about. You don't really know who I am, or what we believe in as a team, and that's why we try to be really consistent with just the rules and things, even like for our program as they come from 7th to 9th to 12th. We want to have kind of the same scheme going.
Right.
It's building up. Do we expect more of our seniors? Yeah, sure. But you began to know this a long time ago. That's why we expect a lot now, as far as how we conduct ourselves in class, how we conduct ourselves in the bleachers, or on the bus, or, what we do on the court, how we conduct ourselves and what we're going to show. We're going to show class. We're going to be fiery and competitive, and we're going to get out there and bust our butt, but we're going to have class, those kinds of things, and along with the fundamentals, I think it's exceptionally important that you establish those and you do that early, the weight program and the work ethic that you expect, all of that stuff. That's all got to come from a young age. And then you get better and better and better at it, and you add more to it, and it becomes more, an in-depth kind of a thing. But
Right.
you have I think you have to, if you want to have a program and not just a good team here or there, you have to have those fundamental steps, and they build as you go.
Coach, being at Fyffe, I joked with Howie when we set up the interview. Next question coming to you, by the way, Howie. I told him, I said, when you walk the hallways of Fyffe between Coach Benefield and Coach Powell, there's probably state championships laying on every table. But seriously, Coach House many years ago established a football program.
Right.
Coach Cochran, does it put a extra sense of pressure as a head coach that you have all these? I mean, and we joke about it, but there's a successful football program,
Sure.
a historical basketball program. You talked about it. You played in state championships of volleyball, and I think you finished second like 2 or 3 times, and your softball team was there. I know since you've been gone, they've had successful. Fyffe is really a school that has had a lot of success in sports. That's got to be a little more pressure when Coach Powell sits down at night, goes, "Whoa, that's not good enough. I got to pick it up."
Definitely. And, and coming in when we did with the whole COVID shutdown, I mean, it has definitely been a journey the last 2 years for sure. I took the job, left Guntersville, took the job here. And it was during the shutdown time, actually. I really didn't get to do justice, I guess, to,
Right.
to those kids as far as really been getting to sit down and talk with them a lot because everything was shut down. There was not a lot of, and we didn't really know how to do a lot of that at that point either, as far as just a face-to-face, like, let's really sit down, let me just talk to you and explain, that kind of a thing. So And coming in, it was kind of the same thing. It was like, well, okay, I need to meet everybody, even though I'm from there. Some of them haven't seen me in a long time, or I really don't, like as a coach, it's just different. But it was more of like, well, let's do a Zoom call, kind of.
Right.
Sometime that summer, we started to get together. We didn't have team count, that was still illegal or whatever at that time. So it was a really weird kind of a beginning. We had a lot of injuries, just some crazy things that had happened. In the middle of that first year, I remember, looking at the assistant coaches and really just thinking, oh my gosh, this is not what, we have got to, and we loved our kids. They're great. But it was like, we had an immediate, we had one or two, the twins that had gone to Gaston State the year before. So they had gone. We had one that graduated early that had been a starter or a six man who graduated early that wasn't expected. One that had moved, a torn labrum in the second game. Another one that had some issues and she didn't get to play most of the year. That was another starter and all-state player. So it was just like in the middle of that going, what is going on? I don't know. We've got to do better, and we had some losses kind of accumulating there. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure.
And you just left a pretty comfortable position at Guntersville where you'd had time to.
Yeah, absolutely. When we went down there, and of course, I love the city, so it was, and it had been during the heyday, I guess, for it. I was playing and they had a lot of success and had been to the state tournament, but not a winner at that point, like way back when I played. We won't say when again, but we knew we had some young kids, and it's going in. You have to adjust. You have to kind of fix things the way that you're going to run them. That kind of thing. So you have that initial year kind of everywhere where there are adjustments. So we had a lot of that, but we had some really great young kids coming on. Had heard rumors of people, some transfers coming in that were going to be huge for us at Guntersville. So we knew that was on the upswing, and obviously it is. They just won a state championship, so that's amazing. I'm so excited for those girls because I know how hard they worked. How ready and how hungry they were for that when we were there. Some of the MVP of the tournament was a 9th grade point guard for us. Varsity starter. Another two who made the all tournament teams a lot. They were in the 8th grade. We brought them over from the middle school and, had to wait for them for practice and that kind of thing while we were there. But ended up, starting for us. And we knew that was the future was going to be really, really bright.
Right.
And it had not been for the years before. So it was going to be a really good situation as far as, the desire was there to have the great program, but it wasn't that like on your back kind of a pressure, where you do kind of feel more of that, here. I can walk in the gym any night and look around and probably find, 7 to 10 state champions, and you just go, and that's just like the women's teams. I'm not talking about even necessarily, football. That's, that would be way more than that, in our student section and stuff like that. And on the floor, or whatever. So that's, that's a lot of pressure for sure. But again, I think you look at it like, we try to tell our kids, not just the pressure, not to feel that, but to feel the pride that should
Absolutely.
come, and to know that people care. They do care about what you do. They do care about what you're involved in, and, that they're going to support that, and that you're going to have somebody in your corner. That was something coming back here, that it was like, one family, we're going to fight together. We're going to cheer together. We're going to gather around, and the morale and stuff just kind of coming back, and with that expectation, pressure, but also, like I said, the pride. And I think you just focus on that more.
Well, Coach, you have to take some pride in what happened at Guntersville after you left, and feel like you laid some of that foundation. So I'm sure it's a great level of satisfaction to you.
Well, thank you for saying so. Definitely, I think, we were the beginning, maybe of some of the things that was needed. Parents there, really and administration really played a huge part in trying to change the culture. It was time, and we did play a small part. I do think Coach Hill has done an amazing job. I talked to him as he was taking the job and or thinking about it, and then after he had taken it, and I've congratulated and text some of those parents and stuff too. Those girls. I mean, I just cannot tell you how exceptionally proud I am for them and of them, that they really stuck with it, that they went in, they put in the work, that they believed, in themselves and each other. And just to see that to fruition, I think it's just amazing, what can happen when everybody really gets on the same page and really just pours into something.
We've got about 15 more minutes here, and we're going to let you go. We told you we wouldn't hold you over an hour. But the last 15 minutes, Howie and I like to do a little something different. Lighten the mode. Howie, coming to you for the next question. But we just want to get some reactions and maybe talk about some folks that's played a part in your career up to now. And
Sure.
And one thing about having embedded Howie there, he knows all the right names to say. So he can hit them all for us. But let's relax a little bit and just run through some of the people that we want to thank, you may want to thank. And there's those saying it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to get you ready to be a head coach too. So
that's true.
We're gonna run through some of those. Howie, do you have some names you want to throw out there real fast?
First of all, I want to go back to when you said that they won or got runner-up a couple years in volleyball, and talk about Heather's expression. It went from happy to like competitive mode again, like she said.
I saw that. I just was poking a little bit to see if I could get it. She's so humble about all those state championships. I had to do something to kick that competitive edge because we'll pretend she's not here right now. She was in the 7th grade and I was calling a game and I hit the late Leroy Stansel, God rest his soul, that supported high school sports. And I went, she's cut from a different mold, isn't she? And he was like, yeah. So we saw it then, Coach.
Most people would say, yeah, she's a weirdo,
Number one fan was me. I'll just tell you,
thank you.
Played with intensity, Coach. And I think a lot of kids, if they find that intensity, would find another level to their game. So, Howie, fire it off.
A quick story about her playing volleyball. Sylvania was hosting a volleyball county tournament, either her junior or senior year, and she was scheduled to take the SAT that day. Word got out that she was going to be running late, and the other teams was flying through the games to hurry up to get through before she.
Oh goodness!
Do you remember taking the SAT on that on the?
I do remember. Yeah, I mean it was because it's always in the middle of something crazy like that, where and now it's like if I know that my kids, the basketball kids, are going to take the ACT or SAT, whatever. On a Saturday, I'm thinking, please don't let us play that day. Well, we're going to have to move the game because we're all going to be brain dead. It's one of those days where it's just, and they come in like in a glaze, like kind of a look, one of those. But, and we want them to do well. So it's like, you want them to have that experience and be able to do it. But then you're thinking, they're not going to remember anything we're doing out here, and they're all in like bubble mode or something. But yeah, I mean, it's a definite, of course, you're struggling, trying to get back, and you're running, and it's one of those like you walk in, it feels like everybody's like sad you're there, or something. It's just a different kind of a feeling. But there's a lot of intensity on the volleyball court too, for sure.
Yeah, the feeling that day was everybody was like, "Hey, if we hurry up and get done, we can, somebody else got a chance to win besides Fyffe because Heather's not there."
That's not true. No, my teammates were great. My coaching teammates are great.
It was the fact of everybody thought they had a better chance without you.
I don't know.
As soon as you walked in, it was like the air went out of the gym.
I seem to recall kind of a.
Yeah. You realize, well, we're playing for second place now. Who wants second?
No.
It's ironic. They do the same thing with me at the buffet.
Stop.
So the first name I want to bring up, I'll give you a second to think about, is Luke Powell. What does he mean?
Luke Powell. Let me think about that name.
She might know him.
I do know him. Yeah. And it's a funny story with him too. He's younger than I am. I will not say how much, but he is. And a couple of different stories. He actually was there, the scoring record night or whatever. It was at Plainview. And he was actually at the game and came up like in a long line or whatever after the game. He kind of stood there. A lot of people were coming in to, just take pictures or just whatever with us or me or whatever. Anyway, and he was in the line and we joked about it later. I was like, you stood in line for me, It was one of those, he's probably like with a buddy or something like I don't know, whoever.
It makes me feel a little bad. I think I stood in that same line. That
Oh my gosh. But then he played football against my brother. And he was older than my brother. So he was kind of in between the two of us. And so I remember Plainview was really good at that time, and he actually didn't start. He was a basketball guy until he was a junior. He played 2 years of football. Well, he ends up, in this crazy decade of like a bajillion wins or something. And he's an all-state safety and he's a starting quarterback. And so it's like, well, and I just remember they ran the ball a lot. He would take off with it too a lot of times. And I remember my brother being like 8th grade or something. And Luke was a senior. And of course he was like the Hoss or whatever, one of them. And he's taking off down the field and I'm just in the stands at Fyffe going, cream him, like get him. And we have laughed. I'm like, look, just a little bit of a confession. Had they done what I wanted them to, you might not have been here for me to marry. Because I was getting on them, wanting them to get this guy, and they, of course, they did not, and they went on to whip us pretty good that night. But anyway, so it's a couple of different stories definitely about that. And he was doing student teaching. I was already teaching at Plainview, and we kind of just met through that. And, so we joke about, we met on the playground but it was when we were really old. It's been definitely a journey. We have 3 kids now and a lot of different places, like you mentioned before, moved around a few different times. And, he was at section for a while, had a really couple good years there with some great people, trying to, really kind of give that football program a boost too. And, just work that in with like the basketball so good over there and really have like a camaraderie there, with the baseball and everything too. And with a small school, that's kind of what you have to do. You want to share those really awesome athletes and that winning tradition and that kind of thing. So, and met just a ton of wonderful people and he loved it there. But, we got the chance to go to Guntersville and just kind of combine back as a family. It's tough. When you both coach, it's one teacher and one teacher coach. It's a little easier at times. I'm not gonna lie. We overlap a lot, and there has to be a lot of give and take. But you hope in a relationship like that there is some mutual respect also, and some mutual kind of understanding that other people might not be able to give you because they might not understand. What it's like to be a coach and. Be at school with your kids or, have to put in the extra hours and those kinds of things. So, that's kind of, I think what the possible good side of that. Then the bad side is, where in the world is supper coming from? Like what is happening? Did anybody do the homework? During that overlap time, it's like, am I by myself? I don't know. Or, he's going, am I a single dad? What's going on? So it definitely takes a village and we, have good grandparents on both sides, that do a lot of helpful things there. And, I think, over the years, you do grow to appreciate all the things that, initially might be a little harder, but hopefully those become kind of what holds you together too in the end.
The next person I want to ask you about is someone we've already talked about is Coach Mike Cochran. What does he mean to you? What do you want to say?
I was asked to help write part of the speech for the Hall of Fame introduction for him. And as I sat down to do that, I'll probably get teared up. And I haven't talked to him in a while now, but we're so crazy and busy. But I don't know that I ever stepped foot on this campus or maybe even coach a game without thinking about him. He is just, I have the most wonderful father in the world. My dad is just an exception and has been my hero most of my life. And, I couldn't ask for better, but I will say that, Mike Cochran is as close to my heart as any person alive, I guess, outside of just my immediate family right there. And I cannot really even put into words what he means to me, just overall, the way that he pushed me, everything he taught me, things that he taught me that I didn't even know that he was teaching me maybe at the time, things that, not just about basketball, but about life and just, just how to persevere and how to win and how to be a success, and how to carry myself and hold myself as that happened, how to bring people together and how to be a teammate. I feel like my dad and Coach Cochran just kind of came together, and that's it culminated, in that. And then the Lord taught me how to do it better, after. But just that beginning of just understanding, how to play the game of basketball, how it works, and to be somebody in this small town, to go from coaching football and to eventually give that up, to just pour into us, to the girls. And that's in the 80s, when that just didn't happen everywhere. Even around here at that time, early on there, just ahead of his time, really. And we joked and laughed and, said, well, he just treats us like a bunch of boys, that's just kind of what it is. And that he did do that, that we were equal.
He had a lot of respect to me.
Yes.
To me, he treated you the same as if you were boys.
Absolutely.
It didn't matter to him. He treated you with that respect and that honor.
And
it was a special relationship.
Absolutely.
Coach Cochran is one of my favorite coaches. I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you said that, it just rang a bell with me.
Yes, absolutely. The dignity there, I think
absolutely
to just say, to have him to say that, and to have him to say, I'll set this other aside even at time, and to really focus on and make that something that was such a source of pride, for him and for the school and then for us, he just, what we had, he loaned us that, he instilled it, that dignity, that pride, that worth, and that, just a relentless pursuit of that almost.
Great words for Coach Cochran right there. It's a great example of who he is.
And then the last one I want to bring up, you've already talked about your dad, Tommy Mace.
Yeah. Gosh. And I know I'll tear up if I start talking too much about him. I don't, what do you say about the man? He's still standing beside me. He sits beside me. We go to war and battle together for those girls and with the girls that we have. He's been to most of the places that I've coached, when he could, for sure. He stood beside me and when I was little, with my little tight basketball goal or my, with my first bike with no training wheels. He taught me how to drive a stick shift and a tractor, and joked about it at times, but I was the first before my brother, and I know that he was excited to have a boy too, but again, it was one of those things where, my dad always taught me, and my mom, both really, they always taught me that, I deserve to have goals and dreams. and that whatever I wanted to do, that was a good thing. We're going to act right. We're going to do right. That's, it was important. We're going to have good grades. We're going to do, but we're going to set some high expectations for ourselves, and whatever that is, we're going to go after it, and we're going to take steps. We're going to work, and we're going to work, and we're going to work, and we'll outwork somebody. We will strive for perfection, and we will do everything we can. If we have to seek out somebody to help us to understand how to do it better, we'll go to camps, and just the sacrifice that they made, just such selfless people, my parents and grandparents, just to give when they didn't have it to give, to make me a priority, and my goals and my dreams a priority when they couldn't make anything that they needed or wanted, maybe even a priority at times. For them to do that, such an example, for how I want to live my life, but how I fail, but how to treat people, and that nobody is better than anybody else. You're not, but they're not better than you. But we will work, and we'll be humble. But we will work, and we will go after it, and then you will hold your head held. It will be a high pride that you will take, not because of who you are, but just because of what you have done and the journey that you've been, and that you have persevered, and that you can make it, that you can do, and you've done it in a way that has integrity and class. Those are the things that have come from my parents that I can't put into words how grateful I am.
Well, the humble part you have learned very well. A quick story. Me and Luke and Shelly was sitting in his office when he was coach at section. Y'all was in the middle of moving from one house to another. He told us, he said, I finally saw Heather's championship rings the other day. He doesn't want to talk about it, and she does not talk about it. But we was packing up, I ran across her championship rings.
Yeah.
I mean, that is humble right there. Spouse don't even, you don't even want to talk about it with your own spouse. That's amazing.
Well, what I will say is that he's got one too now. And when we moved back to Fyffe, he got to get one, and our older of the two sons was on the field with him. And they were with him this past year as managers, and I talk about that one a pretty good bit. I'm not gonna lie, so I get to brag about that one a lot.
Well, Coach, first of all, Howie and I want to give you an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on here, you are one of my favorite people of all times. It's been 25 years since I've seen you, but only 10 for you. So I'll not say that. But you were a great player, but most of all, we respect you as a person. But tell us what we could do, and tell everybody what they could do to help the girls basketball team at Fyffe. We got fundraisers going on, kind of planned, but no details yet. Or what do we got?
We do definitely have that annual onion fundraiser, the onion sale, that kind of stuff. That's kind of kicking off right now. I think we're about to get the papers out. The Tip-Off Club runs that. We do have the Facebook pages, the Tip-Off Club Facebook page. Then we have our Lady Devil one, that's just kind of more like our team. That kind of, we can post the pictures and not get on everybody's nerves, that kind of thing. But we usually do like a ROTA fundraiser, some things like that. We've got a little kid camp that we're trying to plan right now. So, just a lot of things. We're trying to raise that excitement level, so just get on social media, watch out in the paper and that kind of thing. But definitely the social media, stay connected with us, and just keep cheering those kids on. Every time you see them, give them a pat on the back, tell them, great things are coming, and that you're just proud of them for who they are, and being a part of the program, and really sacrificing and giving, their lives and their time to something that's bigger than them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Howie, final words or last question for Coach?
Coach, if you'll get us that information, we'll put it on our website, our social media platform, get the word out for you. Coach, can't thank you enough for taking the time. Like Randy said, open invitation if you're willing to do it again. If we hadn't scared you off with
Yeah.
we
No.
like we said at the opening, we tried to get you on earlier, but a lot of stuff was going on between you coaching and all the kids playing sports. And,
Right.
I'm at a lot of the games, keeping the clock. Randall's got his, he's got a daughter and all this stuff.
And 738 podcasts, I think.
Yeah. And so,
Wow.
yeah, he's
actually about 3, but I like to be dramatic.
That's a pretty good number. I'm telling you, hey, 3 kids. Don't think it doesn't feel like 738.
I got 1 kid, and the reason I have 1 kid because I didn't want 2 after I had the first one, so I was gonna stick with 1. I'm gonna get to make all the mistakes on 1 kid and just leave it there.
I know. Well, I joke about that. My brother's almost 8 years younger than me, so I'm like, what did it take you guys that long to think? Hey, maybe we'll do okay with the next one.
If I could get a do-over, I think I'd be better. Go ahead, Howie. I derailed you.
But anyway, thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing this. We'd love to have you back maybe sometime during the summer after you possibly went to some team camps and give us a preview of what the Lady Devils will look like this upcoming season.
Absolutely. That sounds great. We'll be busy this summer with camp, and I'd love to give you an update after we get back and kind of tell you what to look forward to.
Hey, this door is literally I'm telling you what, Paul Benefeld open this door anytime he wants to. All you got to do is text me and say, but Coach, you're one of the people we've long wanted to go on here. Thank you very much. And again, anytime, any place you want to do a show, we got you. Maybe during the season, we can get some score updates, Howie, get some stuff flowing. That would be absolutely great. Coach, any last words before we let you go? That anything you want to send a shout out to, or
just I want to thank you guys again, for the opportunity to come on. I think it's great to be back home. There is some pressure, like you talked about, but walking the same halls and seeing my kids do the same thing and seeing those faces walking in the gym. I just want to thank all the people who have been supportive during all this and the trials to come back during all the COVID and all the craziness at times that we've had. We've had some people who have really just stuck beside us, and the community in a whole has been just wonderful. And I want to thank them and just to take the opportunity to just thank God for allowing all the good and the bad. It just makes us stronger and it proves a journey and a bigger testimony at the end. So, I'll leave everybody with that. So whatever you're going through and whatever might come, there's always hope.
Coach, thank you very much. And again, God had a different plan calling you home. So
that's right.
You know it. That smile tells me. Howie Cheney, we will see you next week again. And for Randall Cunningham, Howie Cheney, Coach Powell, the Fyffe Lady Devils, basketball cream, my 12-year-old daughter who just now decided to slam every door in the house. That's a special gift for everybody on the way out. Good night and God bless.